My name is Ezzati binti Raja Ahmad. My metric number is HRM323109.
My name is Nurain Ashira, HRM321012.
My name is Nisrina Saffiyah, HRM321013.
So this is our table of content.
So for the first question, we are going to relate any act involving OSH. So I've compiled both case 1 and 2, which is the section 4 of the OSH Act 1994, and also section 15 of the OSH Act, General Duties of Employers and Self-Employed Persons to their Employees. So for section 4, it is to save the safety, health and welfare of persons at work against risk to safety or health arising out of the activities of persons at work. 2. To protect persons at the place of work other than the persons at work against risk to safety or health arising out of the activities of persons at work. 3. To promote an occupational environment for persons at work which is adapted to the physiological and psychological needs. 4. To provide the means whereby the associated occupational safety and health legislations may be progressively replaced by a system of regulations and approved industry codes of practices operating in combination with the provisions of this act designed to maintain or improve the standards of safety and health. And for section 15, number 1, it shall be the duty of every employer and self-employed to ensure the safety, health and welfare at work of all of his employees. 2. The duty extends to A. The provision and maintenance of plant and systems of work that are safe and without risk to health. B. Making of arrangements for ensuring safety and absence of risk to health in connection with the use of operation, handling, storage and transport of plants and substances. C. The provisions of such information, instruction, training and supervision as it is necessary to ensure safety and health at work of his employees. D. Any place of work under the control of employer or self-employed person and maintenance of it must be safe and without risk to health, and the means of access and egress from it are safe and without such risk. And lastly, E. The provision and maintenance of a working environment for his employees are practically safe without risk to health and adequate in regards to the facilities of their welfare at work. So that is the cases that we can take. That is the sections that we can take for case 1 and 2. So moving on. So these are the cause and emergency occurred. So for case 1, it is the faulty electrical source. And also the awareness of electrical safety was low. As you can see, there has been a lot of cases where electrical shocks caused burning has happened, especially with the 956 Tafis and also other places where they are not well informed of the electrical safety. So the emergency for case 1 is the number 1 cause of KRES, which is key risk indicator, and also the 457 cases reported the past 15 years have been fatal. So for case 2, it is caused by the plastic and resin, and the emergency of case 2 is that the factory is going up in flames with thick black smoke. So this happened actually because of the chemical pollution that happened during the fire, because of such as plastic and resin, as we all know, is actually a chemical. So moving on to the next presenter.
So I'm going to present about the prevention program suggested in both case. So for the case 1, inspect wiring of equipment before use and replace damaged codes immediately. So if any damaged code should be taken out of service immediately, especially when the environment is wet, to prevent any electrical hazard. Second, know the location and how to shut off switches. Third, limit the use of extension cords, which is do not overload codes that can draw more watts than the rating of the code. And for the prevention program for case 2, conduct regular monitoring and testing to identify potential hazard by doing risk assessment, risk identification, helps to identify new or changing risks. Second, provide proper training for workers to improve their skill and knowledge on how to handle the hazardous chemicals and machinery safety. Third, implement standard operating procedure (SOP), such as conduct training season, hands-on practice, and provide regular updates. Last point is make it compulsory for workers to wear personal protective equipment (PPE), such as gloves, face shield, protective clothes, to minimize exposure to hazards and prevent injuries. So that's all for me.
Thank you, Ami. So moving on, my part is the challenges in both cases, which is case 1. So for case 1 is overloading outlets, which may cause an electric shock, fire or explosion, and this can cause the company to spend money on the treatment for the employers or employees who got injured. And next is not adopting the KRE safety measure. Does anyone know KRE what stands for? No. KRE means key risk indicator, which is a level to predict the safety measure or the hazard, and it can cause the negative impact towards the business. And lastly is use the fake electrical or electronic products, whereby the company may use the illegal or low quality electronic products, or bought it from the illegal seller without the serial label. And as for the case 2 is exposed to high temperature. Did you know that plastic and the chemicals are really sensitive towards the fire, and can make it many impacts toward the company, which cause such as fire, like the news earlier, and then exposure to chemicals such as PVC and styrene. PVC means polyvinyl chloride, and styrene is toxic to human, as it can cause the high exposure towards the employees who work there. And lastly is resin plastic are prone to evaporate. Evaporate means sejat, so the resin plastic can turn into a gas, and the employees there may breathe into the resin plastic, and can cause them to have a cancer. And for the medical illness, yes. Okay, next, moving on.
Okay, so I would like to present about the emergency planning development by the DOSH officer. So for the case 1, we will give awareness and understand the risk, which is will provide training and development, especially for workers that work with electrical system. So the next one is frequent electrical system checked by professional manpower, which must be inspected by TNB electrical consultant engineer, or we will just call it Tenaga Nasional Berhad, and the DOSH officer will reach them, the TNB engineer, by their website, Tenaga Nasional Berhad Engineering Consultancy and Services, and then provide personal protective equipment (PPE), for example gloves and non-conductive footwear. So as we can see here, at non-conductive footwear, there are anti-static inner sole and shock absorbent PU layer that will resist from any electrical shock wave. So next
How much
case,
do you do some research? How much will the first pair of the shoes?
I say in US dollar is about 35.
35 US dollar.
Yes.
Times with 4 ringgit 50 cents. 100 plus lah.
100 plus. So for the next case, second case, for emergency plan development, firstly, mandatory of usage to use of emergency communication system. So we will put at our workplace emergency detected through sign and lights or direct emergency call. So this the examples of ECS or emergency communication system. Fire alarm control panel, ECS panel, speakers and microphones. So the ECS system will provide some notification service that you got two-way communication. So typically this will facilitate communication between emergency staff or emergency department, any firefighters, police and affected people, and also first responders. So next, effective emergency exit routes. Mark clear exit signs at each places. At each door that will go out from the building, and design an alternative routes if some of the emergency routes is affected. And lastly, implement safety regulation in workplace. So we need to recognize high-risk places that contain flammable materials and toxic chemicals. And let's train the workers the safety procedure that involve at hazardous places and process. Like for example, maybe some machine at the workplace may easy to catch fire. So it's really flammable and will make the risk
Which one more flammable?
Huh?
Which one?
Flammable. It's just the example for flammable.
So, okay. You recommend for the recognize high risk places.
Yes.
Okay.
So mostly the most flammable place at the workplace is the factory machine. Mostly machine.